Greetings, fellow cultivators. Welcome to Audio Nova. Remember to like and subscribe to support the journey. Today, we're diving into the story of what's the point of cultivating immortality if you don't have money. Are we there yet? Don't be nervous. With your grades, you're sure to pass. Don't worry about the surgery costs. Mom found a new part-time job and will definitely scrape together enough. Just focus on the interview. Looking at the message from his mother on the screen, Xiong silently put away his phone, took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and waited quietly. After a long while, a voice called out from the front. Candidate number 989, Xiong. Xiong stood up and walked into the interview room. He looked at the three interviewers and gave a polite smile. He had practiced many times. Hello, I am Xiong from Dongyang Junior High School. The interviewer in the middle looked at him and said blandly, "Why do you want to apply to our school?" "Xiong, your school has a long history, a profound heritage, and abundant teaching resources. It has always cultivated many outstanding talents for society." The interviewer frowned and interrupted, "Don't say such platitudes." Xiong said honestly, "I want to get into a famous university, and Dongyang High School has the highest university admission rate among the schools I can apply to." The interviewer smiled slightly, looking at the information in his hand, and said, "Full marks in all subjects, top of the school? No wonder you were recommended. Your grades are not a problem, but to get into Dongyang High School, relying solely on school exam scores is far from enough." He thought for a moment and asked casually, "How long do you sleep every day now?" Xiong, 5 hours. The interviewer was surprised. 5 hours? Our students have averaged no more than 2 hours of sleep per day since elementary school. And the outstanding graduates of each session basically don't sleep at all. You actually sleep 5 hours a day, which means you study 3 hours less than others every day, and nearly 10,000 hours less in 9 years. Xiong was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that he, who thought he was already working very hard, was still so far behind others in terms of effort. He knew that students in Dongyang City started elementary school at the age of 9 and entered high school at the age of 18, but he didn't expect the gap between people to be so large in the same 9 years. Xiong quickly said, "I will work hard to catch up with them." The interviewer on the left asked, "How much of the high school curriculum have you learned?" Xiong calmed down slightly and said confidently, "I have already self-studied the entire first-year curriculum." The other person frowned slightly. "Only the first year? Don't you know that we assume students have already completed the high school curriculum when we start classes here?" Xiong was stunned when he heard this. This was another piece of information he didn't know. What he thought was an advantage turned into a disadvantage in an instant. Just as he was at a loss, the interviewer in the middle asked the next question. "In order to improve learning efficiency and prevent early romances, our school requires all students to complete sterilization, surgery, to remove relevant organs before enrollment, so they can concentrate on cultivation from then on. Do you know about this?" Finally hearing something he knew, he quickly replied, "My family is already preparing for it. I will definitely complete the sterilization surgery before school starts and keep my hormone levels at the most suitable level for studying." The interviewer nodded non-committally. "All right, the interview is over for today, you can go out first." Xiong walked out of the classroom uneasily. He felt that his interview time seemed to be shorter than other students. After he left, the interviewer in the middle shook his head. "He hasn't even been sterilized in junior high school. This child's determination to pursue the Tao is not firm enough." The female interviewer on the side smiled and said, "I think he came without knowing anything. He doesn't have any of the required test reports or extracurricular exam scores. It can only be said that the quality of recommended students from these ordinary junior high schools is getting worse every year. If it weren't for the support policies, they wouldn't be qualified to see us." The interviewer in the middle nodded. "Alas, I thought the poor would work harder. Maybe I had too high expectations for them. Let's put this one on the alternate list for now." With that said, he threw Xiong's resume into the trash can next to him, where it was squeezed together with hundreds of other alternate resumes. Although Xiong felt that his interview didn't seem very successful, he didn't have extra time to think about it. He had already started preparing for interview after interview, and came to one high school after another. "Student Xiong, we understand that your family situation may not be able to afford the tuition fees here. However, we provide preferential loan services for poor students, as long as you are willing to mortgage some unimportant organs. Don't worry, you've come to the right place. We know you're a male, and although our school is a girls' school, we never discriminate against males. As long as you complete the gender reassignment surgery, you will not only be able to enroll, but you will also be considered a seed student with a firm Dao heart, and you will have the opportunity to enter the key class, to study the primordial yin, key, refinement, technique. It's a pity, you're still a little short of our admission standards. However, this year, in order to take care of poor students, we have launched a special admissions policy. If you are willing to give up your physical body, you can study in the Principal's Myriad Souls banner as a soul cultivation specialty student. Student, you've come to the right place. Our high school is the most suitable for a genius commoner like you. Let me introduce you to the benefits here. We add nootropics to the drinking water to ensure that students are always maintained in a level 5 concentration state. Every day, the homeroom teacher will give you more than 900 grams of supplements specifically for bold demons to ensure that your cultivation effect is more than 10 times the original. Even the air circulation system is filled with nerve stimulant fillers, so you no longer need to sleep, and all of this is free. Of course, if you want to withstand these performance-enhancing supplements, you must complete the transformation in our designated hospital. Don't worry, you only need to implant some small magical instruments to improve your metabolism. Here is the detailed price list. Interview after interview, question after question. Either the threshold was too high, making him see no hope at all, or there were so many traps that he felt like he would be swallowed in one gulp by the contract. All of this made Xiong Yu feel suffocated. At this moment, he suddenly realized that he, who had the top grades in an ordinary suburban junior high school, was already vastly different from the students in the city center. Even until this moment, he only knew the tip of the iceberg regarding how big the specific gap between the two sides was. His hard work over the past few years seemed to have become a joke. In the end, he was no different from those unmotivated classmates, and he also couldn't get into high school. Back home, Xiong Yu sat silently like a stone statue. The phone on the table vibrated repeatedly. Mother, how was the interview? Mother, I have to work overtime today. Remember to heat up the food in the refrigerator yourself. A moment later, the phone vibrated again. Mother, son, don't worry. No matter if you choose sterilization or gender reassignment, Mom will definitely scrape together the money for the surgery. But Xiong Yu didn't look at the vibrating phone. He just stared blankly at the ceiling, wanting to think about the future, but he felt like his head was empty and nothing could be squeezed out. Just then, the phone vibrated violently again. Xiong Yu didn't want to pay attention at first, but after the phone vibrated for more than a minute, he finally couldn't help but pick it up, only to find that the other party had hung up. Then he received a message from the other party: your 5,000 reserve fund is ready and will be credited in just 10 seconds. A small loan advertisement. HMPH. Xiong Yu thought that his interview information was probably sold by some school. But after putting down his phone for a moment, he picked it up again and reopened the message. That night, after his mother came back from working overtime, she found that Xiong Yu, who had looked ashen-faced, seemed to have recovered and was sitting upright at the table, reading a book. Mom, don't worry, I won't be defeated so easily. If it doesn't work this year, I'll take the exam again next year. I will definitely cultivate immortality. I'll go find a tutoring class tomorrow. I'm going to make up for what I'm missing one by one. Early the next morning, Xiong Yu rushed out, returning home that night with a look of joy. Mom, I found an immortal cultivation tutoring class. The teachers there are all from key high schools. I'll definitely be able to get into high school if I learn from them. You don't have to worry about the tuition fees. They think I've had good grades since I was a child, and they know my family isn't rich, so they've temporarily waived my tuition fees. As long as I can get into Songyang High School next year, I won't have to pay the tuition fees. Just consider it helping them with advertising. Don't worry, they're a big company and won't cheat people. His mother watched Xiong Yu leave for tutoring classes before dawn every day and study until 2 or 3 in the morning after returning home late at night. Watching him constantly bring back textbooks for the second and third years of high school in Chinese, mathematics, physics, etc. Watching him plan to complete all the general knowledge courses in high school, except for immortal cultivation, she was gratified by her son's progress. But when she saw the boxes of medicines he brought back, a trace of doubt still welled up in her heart. Zhang Yu explained with a smile, "Mom, since I was a child, I have studied 10,000 hours less than those top students. If I don't work hard, I will only be left further and further behind. These nerve stimulant fillers allow me to sleep only half an hour a day and improve my learning efficiency, so at least I won't be further distance from the students in the city. Don't worry, these medicines don't cost any money. The principal of our tutoring class is very optimistic about me. He gave me all these medicines." Hearing that it was a gift from the principal, the mother was even happier that her son was appreciated. Soon Zhang Yi brought back more things. In addition to various high school textbooks and nerve stimulant fillers, there were also capsules to regulate hormone levels, supplements specifically for demon beasts, and bottles of unpackaged medicinal powders. Zhang Yu also had many explanations, sometimes saying they were cheap goods bought while working, sometimes saying they were gifts from classmates, sometimes saying they were rewards from the tutoring class. The mother was happy for her son's diligence and even happier for his good popularity and excellent performance in the tutoring class. She transferred 1,000 yuan to Zhang Yu, telling Zhang Yu to remember to thank his classmates and teachers. But gradually, she found that Zhang Yu's emotions began to become abnormal. Sometimes he was happy before going out in the morning, but when he came back at night, he would go straight to bed without saying a word. Sometimes he was happily eating, but after answering a phone call, he would frown and couldn't eat a bite. She knew that the pressure of cultivating immortality must be too great, causing Zhang Yu to become mentally tense. She could only buy more of what he liked to eat, and save more tuition fees for him, hoping to alleviate some of his stress. Gradually, she also found that Zhang Yu was particularly concerned about his phone. Not only did he almost always have his phone with him, but he also didn't allow anyone to touch his phone casually. He always went into the bathroom and closed the door before answering calls. Once, she saw that his phone was out of power and took it to charge, but Zhang Yu scolded her angrily. Understanding that he was under a lot of pressure, she never dared to touch Zhang Yu's phone again, for fear of affecting her son's cultivation of immortality. Suddenly one day, Zhang Yu asked her for tutoring fees, saying that the tutoring class had invited seniors who had been admitted to top universities to give them lectures, and this was the money for the seniors. Then there was the referral fee for the high school admissions teacher, the spiritual root detection fee for the hospital. And he wanted to buy civilian-grade children's flying swords with the students in the tutoring class. From 2 or 3,000 to 7 or 8,000 the last time, she directly transferred 20,000 yuan. Zhang Yu said it was the cost of renting a heavenly spiritual root. But the good news finally came. Zhang Yu was successfully admitted to Songyang High School. The mother was overjoyed. She was proud of her son's efforts and talent, and she agreed to all the tuition fees, miscellaneous fees, and medicine fees that Zhang Yu mentioned next. But after school started, Zhang Yu asked for more and more money, and the family gradually became unable to make ends meet. Finally, one afternoon, listening to the voice on the other end of the phone, the mother's heart trembled. "Hello? Is this Zhang Yu's mother? Do you know that your son's loan is 30 days overdue? The newest novels are first published on Liu Jiao Shiba." That night, Zhang Yu confessed everything to his mother. Over the past few months, the various expenses in the learning process did not come from the free appreciation and gifts he had mentioned. The money all came from his loans from various platforms. "Mom, I'm sorry. But I really want to cultivate immortality. Even if I owe debts that I can't pay off for the rest of my life, I still want to cultivate immortality." After listening to all this, the mother silently sold all the valuable things in the house and then borrowed some money to pay off Zhang Yu's debts. She thought that her son would be able to cultivate immortality in peace next. But she soon discovered that her son had no overdue loans. Repaying loans, taking out loans, repaying loans, taking out loans. The mother finally couldn't help but persuade Zhang Yu to spend less money. "Mom, this medicine can't be stopped. If I stop taking the medicine, my Tao heart will regress, and I will have wasted all my previous efforts. The heavenly spiritual root must be rented. Without the heavenly spiritual root, my mana can't keep up." This VIP card for the tutoring class needs to be recharged, otherwise I won't understand the techniques that the school teachers teach in class. Advanced immortal cultivation technology allows ordinary people without spiritual roots to embark on the path of immortality, but the price is to regularly undergo the most expensive learning and maintenance to continue walking. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed since the start of school. Watching the debts increase, and now even the family's rent and utilities were unaffordable, all of this seemed like a never-ending nightmare. The mother could finally no longer bear it. So when Xiong Yu came home from school again one day, he never saw his mother's figure again. After reading the message left by his mother, he sat blankly for a long time, eventually silently picking up his phone and walking outside. On the rooftop of the rented apartment, a sharp pain surged from the depths of the man's mind, gradually awakening his chaotic consciousness from the darkness. He opened his eyes and looked ahead, seeing a bustling street not far away, with sewage flowing freely. On both sides of the street, colorful advertising signs flashed with neon lights, and above them, dark buildings were crowded together, as if to block out the entire sky. The building beneath his feet was a dilapidated apartment, its mottled red brick walls still projecting a financial advertisement video, in which immortals who could fly and escape were jointly recommending a 30-day interest-free cultivation loan for new users. Wasn't I playing Black Mirror? Where is this? As he wondered what was happening, he turned his head and discovered the rooftop was covered in candles. Rows of candles flickering with scarlet light surrounded him and a tattered doll. It was a cloth doll with faded yellow fabric, crooked stitching, and looked as if it would tear apart at any moment. The bizarre scene seemed to stimulate his brain, causing fragments of memories to tumble back and forth in his mind. This isn't China anymore. Did I get transported to another world? He found it difficult to accept the transmigrated situation. However, the genuine memories of immortal cultivation techniques in his head constantly assaulted his consciousness, allowing him to gradually merge with the original owner, while constantly reminding him that he was now in another world. This place was Kungshu, a superstructure erected on the earth in a pyramid shape, with 36 floors above ground and 18 floors below. Starting from the first floor, the largest in area and resembling a continent, each floor was a new world. As for what the world outside Kungshu was like, Xiong Yu's mind held no answers. He only knew that within Kungshu, it was a world where the various immortal sects were supreme. The major sects were high above, virtually monopolizing grain, energy, transportation, education, scientific research, medical care, finance, the internet, and various other industries. The government army was more like a gatekeeper in front of the sect's law enforcement team. However, ordinary people were not fortunate enough to enjoy most of the benefits brought by immortal cultivation technology. Instead, they were busy making a living every day. And he was living on the first floor of Kungshu, a high school student named Xiong Yu, who had been admitted to Songyang High School and recently had been obsessed with some strange ritual. The current me has become Xiong Yu of another world. Just then, a stinging pain came from the palm of his hand, awakening Xiong Yu from the shock of memories. He looked down and saw a transparent symbol appearing in his palm, gradually turning black at an extremely slow pace. What is this thing? As the night wind blew, the surrounding scarlet candlelight flickered, and the tattered doll on the ground stared straight at him with empty eyes made of black buttons. He wanted to recall what was happening, but the more he tried, the more his head ached and the more dizzy he felt. The atmosphere in the air became increasingly eerie and strange. Xiong Yu covered his dizzy head, feeling the world spinning around him. When he came back to his senses, he found himself vaguely leaving the rooftop, step by step returning to the front of his house. After glancing at the overdue rent bill, he stepped through the door, and all that met Xiong Yu's eyes was a bed and a table. Is this my home? Feeling his sticky skin soaked in sweat, and the incredibly stuffy environment around him, Xiong Yu wanted to find the air conditioner remote, but remembered that there was no air conditioner in this house at all. He also wanted to take a shower, but found that the water had already been cut off. Xiong Yu sat down on the bed helplessly. What a dump. What if there are immortals? This life is worse than a world without immortals. Xiong Yu's gaze swept across the wall, and he found that the wall behind the table was covered with certificates of merit from childhood to adulthood. First grade, second grade, third grade. All the way to the third year of junior high school, the original Xiong Yu was almost always the first in his grade every year. Looking at these certificates, various memories of receiving awards flooded. Xiong Yu's mind. The original Xiong Yu was a diligent and hardworking student who had excellent grades since childhood. Songyang High School, which I am currently attending, is also a key high school in the city. I'm a top student. Recalling the knowledge in his mind, Xiong Yu's eyes gradually brightened. Getting into a famous university will allow me to establish my foundation, joining a major sect will allow me to form my core, and I can also climb up in Kongshu, leave this slum, enjoy more benefits of immortal cultivation technology, and then live for hundreds of years without any problems. Thinking of this, Xiong Yu suddenly felt that coming to this world seemed like a good thing. Just as he was thinking this, his phone suddenly rang. Hello. Hello, Mr. Xiong Yu. Your loan on our platform is overdue for 3 days. After hanging up the phone, Xiong Yu scrolled through the text message inbox on his phone and found dense text messages urging payment, all of which were overdue payments from the original owner's loans on various platforms. At the same time, relevant memories flooded into his mind. This guy started borrowing money for tutoring before entering high school. After entering Songyang High School, in order to keep up with everyone's grades, he had a flash of inspiration and started using loans to support loans in order to improve his grades, borrowing money everywhere to take medicine and tutoring, forcibly stimulating his potential, and eventually not only borrowed more and more money, but also gradually squeezed out his potential. This bastard is a pseudo-immortal genius disguised by platform loans. Even his mother couldn't stand him, and finally left. After calculating the total amount of overdue loans, cold sweat immediately broke out on Xiong Yu's forehead. Only because he found that with the interest snowballing, Xiong Yu already owed a total of more than 700,000 yuan to various platforms. And looking at his account again, there was only a little more than 50 yuan left. He actually owes 700,000. Damn it. Xiong Yu slammed his fist on the bed and roared, in this world. Even for the proud sons of heaven who graduate from high school, this is a huge debt. No wonder this guy is obsessed with some weird rituals. This is a lone dog with no hope in life. He enjoyed himself enough, and now I have to pay off his debts? At the same time, the lights in the room suddenly went out. After Xiong Yu repeatedly pressed the switch several times and observed the situation of other neighbors, he confirmed one thing. His electricity was cut off. This damn place. If I wake up tomorrow morning and go back, that would be great. With all sorts of messy thoughts churning in his mind, Xiong Yu eventually fell asleep on the bed in a daze. And on the palm of his hand, 1/10 of the original transparent symbol had been filled with black. The ticking of the clock echoed incessantly, as Xiong Yu in the classroom was earnestly working on the test paper before him. But the test paper seemed endless. No matter how he worked on it, how he filled it in, there was never a moment when it was finished. And his seat was getting further and further away from his classmates. Gradually he could no longer see the figures in front of him, as if he was being swallowed little by the darkness behind him. Cold sweat broke out on his head, panic surged in his heart, and the constantly writing hand began to weaken and lose its strength. Until he fell into the bottomless darkness along with countless books and test papers. Xiong Yu suddenly woke up from his bed. Was it a dream? It seems like they were all Xiong Yu's past memories. He rubbed his head, feeling countless fragments of memories belonging to the original owner of the body rising and falling in his mind, constantly changing. Although Xiong Yu had now taken control of this body, he had not completely merged with the original memories, and many details required focused recollection to remember. Especially the relevant memories about the strange ritual yesterday. As long as Xiong Yu slightly recalled it, he felt a burst of dizziness, completely unable to remember what happened. At this moment, he looked at his phone and found that it was only 5 o'clock in the morning. He wanted to fall back down and continue sleeping, but found that this body couldn't fall asleep no matter what. It was as if getting up at 5 o'clock every day to go to school had become an instinct of this body. Why do I feel a sense of guilt if I continue to lie down? Xiong Yu sat up, thinking that this was probably the influence of the original body's memories. Feeling his somewhat deflated stomach, Xiong Yu simply stood up and thought to himself, forget it, I might as well go to school, at least I can get a full meal. He remembered that Songyang High School should provide 3 meals a day, and the food expenses for this month had already been charged into the card. And now, burdened with a huge debt of 700,000, and with only 50 odd yuan on him, he couldn't afford to eat outside. So, leaving the stuffy apartment and passing through the alley full of sewage, Xiong Yu squeezed onto the bus with a crowd of people. Squeezed in the carriage mixed with the smell of sweat and food, the air conditioner was on but it was as if it wasn't. Xiong Yu felt as if he was a deformed takeaway, being transported to the city center in a jolting manner. After spending an hour and a half, and changing to buses, Xiong Yu, covered in sweat, finally squeezed off the bus. Wiping the sweat from his head, Xiong Yu thought to himself, speaking of which, why am I a day student? Oh, I remember, it's because I can't afford the accommodation fee. Unlike the place where Xiong Yu lived, the place where he got off the bus was located in the city center, and what he saw were tall buildings and clean, wide roads, and even the air was much fresher. And most of the men and women walking on the road were well dressed, looking like urban elites. Walking and stopping along the way, he finally arrived at the school gate, and Xiong Yu saw from afar the large characters, Xiong, Advanced, Immortal, Cultivation High School, at the entrance. And on the electronic screen at the school gate, there was actually a string of report cards, listing the top 10 students in the monthly grades of the 3 high school grades. From this, it can be seen that Songyang High School is a school that attaches great importance to students' grades. And if Xiong Yu were to summarize it, while recalling it at this moment, then it would be that Songyang High School respects grades above all else. This is a world where everyone judges everything by grades. Studying and taking exams here are as natural as breathing, and almost everyone has extreme score discrimination. What, your score is so low? No wonder you have to queue for so long in the cafeteria. Your score is so low, you are not qualified to eat at the same table with us in the cafeteria. What, the top students are going to insult the poor students fiercely. All belong to the positive energy of the campus. This is completely a world where scores are supreme, a hell for the poor students. Xiong Yu looked at Xiong Yu, 10th place in the first year of high school, on the electronic screen, and sighed in his heart. Fortunately, I am the one with the high score. Although my ranking may seem a bit undeserved at the moment, at least it hasn't been exposed yet, so I should still be able to live a decent life in school, right? The cafeteria of Songyang High School provides breakfast, and Xiong Yu followed his memory to come here. Walking all the way down, he found that although there were many students queuing up for food in the cafeteria, they were all extremely quiet. Almost everyone queued silently, took their meals quietly, and found a place to eat quietly, like gears stuck together, precisely operating every step. Some students even took books to read while eating, seizing every minute to study. Casually finding a place to sit down, Xiong Yu had just taken a bite of a meat bun when he found someone sitting down in the empty seat in front of him. This was a girl with dark black hair and a fair face. The girl's name appeared in Xiong Yu's mind. Bai Zhenjin. To be precise, it is Bai Zhenjin, the first place in the first year of high school, the woman at the top of the contempt chain in the first year. Looking at the girl sitting in front of him drinking porridge, Xiong Yu thought to himself, is she my friend? Because I am in the top 10 in the grade? Is this the so-called circle of top students? Bai Zhenjin is the kind of person who, as long as she doesn't smile, feels like she is sulking. Even ordinary words can give a sense of alienation that keeps people away. Just like sitting in front of Xiong Yu at this moment, as long as she doesn't say a word, it makes Xiong Yu feel whether she has any opinions on him. Just as Xiong Yu was focusing on recalling the memories in his head, related to Bai Zhenjin, wanting to confirm what the relationship between the two was, he heard the girl say, go to the small garden after eating, I'll wait for you there. Looking at the back of her leaving, a thoughtful look flashed in Xiong Yu's eyes. A moment later, after he had eaten and drunk his fill, he also left the cafeteria and came to the small garden behind the school. This is a quiet place behind the dormitory building, and at this moment, when most of the students have rushed to the teaching building, it is almost impossible to see anyone. Bai Zhenjin was standing in front of a flower bed. As soon as she heard Xiong Yu's footsteps, she turned around and quickly walked to him. Dad. With a bang, Bai Zhenjin knelt on the ground, hugging Xiong Yu's leg, and said, there were too many people in the cafeteria just now, I was too embarrassed to say it. Lend me some money, my microloan is overdue for almost a month. I'll kneel for you. Looking at the scene in front of him, Xiong Yu cursed inwardly, what kind of broken school is this? The first place and the 10th place in the grade are all pretending to be cool with loans, right? And Xiong Yu had already recalled it at this moment. He and Bai Zhenjin knew each other not because of any circle of top students, but because she was his online contact, selling him microloans. Let me introduce again solemnly, Zhang Yu's classmate by Zhenjin and Zhang Yu are good brothers who share loan information from major platforms and have a solid friendship of borrowing money everywhere together. Thinking that under the cold poker face that the other party had just shown in the cafeteria, she was constantly thinking about how to borrow money from him. Zhang Yu shook his head helplessly. You let go of me first, how can I have money to lend you? Bai Zhenjin shook her head and said you are only 10th in the grade. How much money can you spend? The loan you applied for must be much less than mine, right? Saying that, she said somewhat stiffly and shyly, as long as you help me pay off the debt, you can do whatever you want. Hearing this, Zhang Yu's eyes lit up, looking at Bai Zhenjin's originally cold face now blushing. He only felt a different kind of charm. He looked Bai Zhenjin up and down and asked, really anything is okay? Bai Zhenjin bit her lip lightly and nodded. Yak. Zhang Yu, then can I mortgage you? Bai Zhenjin let go of his hand and glared at Zhang Yu. Yuzi, do you really have no money left? Zhang Yu took out his phone and showed his balance and overdue information. Bai Zhenjin stood up, patted her pants full of dust, and then looked at Zhang Yu with some disbelief. You owe 700,000. Even after graduating from college, I'm afraid it will take a long time to pay it off. You are only in the first year of high school, how can you spend money so fiercely? Bai Zhenjin shook her head repeatedly. As she said this, Zhang Yu, how did you spend this money? Zhang Yu rubbed his head and said, I forgot. You wait for me to think about it. Bai Zhenjin looked at Zhang Yu suspiciously. You didn't take it to invest in something, did you? Were you scammed? While recalling, Zhang Yu also became somewhat uncertain. Probably not, right? Bai Zhenjin's expression suddenly turned serious. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that there was something wrong with Zhang Yu's spending of over 700,000 inches. Let me see your phone. Zhang Yu understood that she was concerned about him. After all, investment, fraud, gambling, sudden death, and cultivation deviation were the top 5 causes of death in Songyang City, with cultivation deviation ranking 5th. At this moment, he also felt doubts about the original owner of his body. He immediately took out his phone. It's a good opportunity for me to review how this money was spent, so let's look at the transaction history together. The newest novels are first published on 69 Shu. The two of them scanned the phone screen and saw Zhang Yu's original expenses. As Zhang Yu looked at these expenses, many details of related memories flooded into his mind. Danding Pharmacy 280.00. Danding Pharmacy 250.00. Time waits for no one. Quiet room 120.00. Zhang Yu said as he looked, this is when I bought elixirs at the pharmacy and then rented a quiet room to practice breathing exercises. The teaching content of Songyang High School, in addition to general courses such as Chinese, mathematics, physics, and history, also includes courses related to immortal Tao. The so-called immortal Tao is the path of cultivation for humans to become immortals step by step. This is the most important teaching content in the entire high school stage, with the highest score proportion, and it is also the key to entering a famous university. Breathing exercises are the most basic skill of immortal Tao. By breathing in and out, one can gather the spiritual energy in the atmosphere, so as to accumulate mana in the cultivator's body. Only with enough mana can one drive stronger, combat, power, and climb to higher realms. It can be said that mana is the foundation of all immortal Tao techniques. For example, if you want to break through from the key refining realm to the foundation establishment realm, the mana requirement is above 60 points, while the mana upper limit that can be mastered in the key refining realm is 100 points. In the system that the top 10 sects are working hard to build, everything is standardized and digitized as much as possible, even mana. For example, the current mana tests in schools are accurate to 1 decimal place. Bai Zhenjin nodded slightly and continued to scroll down. Shui Shu Catering Service Company Limited 532.00. Zhang Yu said this is for nutritional meals in the cafeteria, which cost more. In immortal Tao cultivation, the strength of the physical body is also crucial. Ingesting a large amount of food rich in spiritual, energy, and immortal Tao elements is also a daily part of the cultivator's life, known as dietary supplementation. Xiong Education Service Company Limited 1500.00. Xiong Education Service Company Limited 3000.00. Zhang Yu recalled and said this is the tuition fee for the last tutoring session, as well as the cost of renting a spiritual route. Spiritual roots are a special talent that only a few geniuses possess, which can greatly increase the cultivation efficiency and combat power of cultivators. As the most famous threshold of immortal Tao in the past, even Zhang Yu and his mother, who used to study in junior high school, knew about the various legends about spiritual roots. As a result, when the original Zhang Yu was making up lessons and taking out loans, he used renting a spiritual root as an excuse to get money from his mother. However, with the increasing development of immortal Tao technology, ordinary people like Zhang Yu who do not have spiritual routes can also spend money to rent spiritual roots to improve their cultivation efficiency. Continuing to scroll down, except for Zhang Yu's brief explanation at the beginning, the subsequent expenses were almost all similar, almost all related to immortal Tao cultivation. Soon after scrolling through Zhang Yu's expenses in the past few months, Bai Zhenjin looked at Zhang Yu with pity in her eyes. You really spent so much on your immortal Tao cultivation? And you only managed to get into the top 10, after owing more than 700,000. It's only been more than 3 months since school started, right? What are you going to do next? As someone who had only transmigrated to another world, on the first day, Zhang Yu was naturally confused about the future. He shrugged and said let's just muddle through for now, and slowly figure out a solution. Seeing that it was almost time for class, the two walked towards the teaching building while chatting. How can you, who own more than 700,000, look more relaxed than me, who owes more than 200,000? Bai Zhenjin looked at Zhang Yu's calm appearance and reminded you won't have any money to invest in your studies next. Do you know the consequences of not having money to study? Do you know how dangerous our current situation is? Zhang Yu, what consequences? Bai Zhenjin said there are only 3 weeks left until the monthly exam. In 3 weeks, you won't have money to rent a spiritual root, no money to buy elixirs, no money to attend tutoring classes, and not even money to buy supplements every day, and everyone else is improving every minute and every second. By then, your grade ranking will drop by dozens of places, which means you will be directly kicked out of the demonstration class. Combining what Bai Zhenjin said, many related memories flooded into Zhang Yu's mind. The entire first year has 10 classes, from class 1 to class 10, divided according to the monthly exam results. According to Zhang Yu's ranking, he was naturally assigned to class 1, which had the best treatment, also known as the demonstration class. The monthly exam results, in addition to the regular general knowledge exams, ultimately focus on the results of immortal Tao cultivation. After all, general knowledge education only accounts for 50 points, while the remaining immortal Tao subjects add up to a full 650 points. Especially since everyone is a first-year student, and officially started cultivating immortality after school started, the cultivation levels are actually limited. Although he seems to be in 10th place, if he fails to maintain his previous rate of progress in the next few weeks, he will easily be thrown out of the top dozens. Bai Zhenjin continued, if you continue to have no money, your ranking will get worse and worse, and the treatment will get lower and lower. In this vicious circle, you will be kicked from class 1 to class 10 step by step. She said with a solemn face, without money, and no grades, you will become combustible trash in the eyes of teachers, a joke in the mouths of demonstration class students, and an object for those extras in ordinary classes to realize cheap self-superiority. Bai Zhenjin held her head in this situation, let alone cultivation resources, it will be difficult to maintain a stable Tao heart, and the grades will only get worse and worse. Eventually, you will fall into the elimination line and be kicked out of Songyang High School, with injuries and a pile of debt. Seemingly seeing that tragic future in her mind, Bai Zhenjin looked up at the sky and sighed. Do you want to live at the bottom of the entire school's hierarchy of contempt, repeatedly insulted, and ultimately become a social scum with a high school diploma? Zhang Yu twitched the corner of his mouth when he heard this. Then, what do you say we should do? Bai Zhenjin was silent for a moment, and turned her head. Brother, to be honest, you might not really be suitable for immortal Tao, if you only manage to get into the top 10, after owing 700,000. I don't know how you got into Songyang, but my suggestion is drop out of school, and go to work, otherwise, I'm afraid you'll get deeper and deeper. Zhang Yu did not respond, but felt a sigh in his heart. The only good thing about this broken world is that you can cultivate immortality, but after only being here for a day, you're telling me that I don't have the talent for cultivating immortality? Not long after returning to the classroom, Zhang Yu picked up his vibrating phone and found that Bai Zhenjin had transferred 500 yuan to him and sent a message. Bai Zhenjian pay the water and electricity bills first. Zhang Yu was slightly stunned and suddenly smelled his clothes. He immediately realized that Bai Zhenjian had smelled the smell of him not showering for a few days. Although he himself was used to the smell, it should be quite obvious to others. Thinking that the other party's financial situation was so bad, and she still gave him money, Zhang Yu sighed in his heart. He typed a long paragraph of text on his phone, then deleted it all, and finally replied thank you. After replying to the message, Zhang Yu looked at the palm of his hand and found that the symbol on it had been half filled with black. On the way to school and into the classroom, Zhang Yu had already discovered that only he could see the symbol on his palm. At this moment, he calculated the time and estimated that the symbol would be completely filled with black tonight. He just didn't know what would happen after it was filled. Today, we'll go over the test you took last time. Pass the papers down. Look at the questions you got wrong. How many times have I told you, if you don't understand something, come and ask me? Yesterday, I sat in the office for 3 hours in the afternoon, and not a single person came to ask me a question. Not long after the math papers were distributed, the tall and robust physical education teacher came into the classroom, looked at the math teacher, and said, "You're sick." After dismissing the ailing math teacher, the PE teacher, Wang Hai, looked at the students and announced, "This class will be changed to PE. But don't forget to review math on your own time. General knowledge courses account for 50 points in the college entrance exam. Missing 1 point in the exam can mean falling behind many people." Speaking of general knowledge courses, I'll also let you know that I've already spoken to your Chinese teacher and that class will also be changed to PE, adding that to the original PE class, the entire morning will be dedicated to my PE class. The students followed PE teacher Wang Hai to the indoor training ground and saw that the training ground was as huge as a plaza, filled with all kinds of exercise equipment. Wang Hai said, "The key refining realm is the first realm of immortal cultivation. What's important is to lay a solid foundation. How solid the foundation you build in the first year of high school will determine what height you can reach in your second and third years." As he took in these familiar scenes, countless detailed memories flooded Zhang Yu's mind. Since the 10 great sects organized and integrated it, immortal cultivation now has a systematic division of realms and strengths, encompassing all aspects of immortal techniques. It can be said to be as vast as the ocean. The most well-known is the 10 great realms of immortal cultivation. The key indicators that determine which immortal realm a person can reach are Dao heart level and mana level. For high school students, only by crossing the level 10 threshold for Dao heart and exceeding 60 points of mana can they break through from the key refining realm to the foundation establishment realm. The high school PE class is designed to temper the physical body and hone willpower. After all, a strong physical body can not only increase the efficiency of mana enhancement, but also greatly help with the strong willpower required for the Dao heart level, and also enhance the practical combat ability of the key refining realm. If Dao heart and mana are the foundation of immortality, then the physical strength trained in PE class is the foundation of the foundation. At the same time, waves of light swept across the bodies of the many students present, displaying their physical strength data on a large screen not far away, arranged from highest to lowest. First place, Qi and Shen, physical strength level 1.15. Second place, Bai Zhenjian, physical strength level 1.13. Third place, He Dao, physical strength level 1.12. Zhang Yu didn't find his score until he saw 19th place. 19th place, Zhang Yu, physical strength level 0.82. Immortal techniques in Kungshu have been constantly developed, and now various data and indicators are becoming more and more refined. Physical strength is not only quantified, but it is also rate-tested every PE class. And this indicator, like Dao heart, can only reach level 10 at most in the key refining realm. Although physical strength is not a key indicator for breaking through the immortal realm, it is related to the efficiency and combat power of the cultivator, and is an important foundation of immortality, accounting for 150 points out of 650 points in the immortal science subjects. Physical strength has dropped to 19th place. Looking at his score, Zhang Yu recalled how his physical strength progress had been constantly surpassed by those around him during this period. At the same time, the surrounding students took out syringes and injected various enhancement supplements into their arms. After these supplements of various brands are sent into the body, They not only increase the strength of muscles and bones, but also increase the efficiency of exercise by several to dozens of times. They are essential drugs for first-year high school students. Here, you can skip exercising for a day, but you can't skip injecting for a day. Excellent students often inject 8 or more times a day. Xiong Yu saw Bai Zhenjin, not far away, inject a total of 9 needles into her buttocks, arms, and thighs in one go. However, compared to the many big guys around, Bai Zhenjin seemed much smaller. Xiong Yu remembered that this was because the physical exercise directions of the two sides were different, so the shapes they were sculpting were also different. The PE teacher, Wang Hai, saw that Xiong Yu had not injected anything for a long time, frowned, and walked over. Xiong Yu, how many days have you not injected performance-enhancing drugs? Xiong Yu didn't dare to say that he didn't have any money. He knew that this was as shameful as having poor grades in Songyang High School. He only dared to say it when talking to close friends like Bai Zhenjin. Secondly, the fragmented memories in his mind told him that the original owner had fainted several times due to excessive drug use, which put a heavy burden on his internal organs and cardiovascular system, and was beginning to endanger his life. So Xiong Yu perfunctorily said, "I want to try not using drugs." Who knew that Wang Hai frowned even tighter when he heard this, and said in a thunderous voice, "Are you watching those internet celebrities who can't bear the pain of drug use, promoting natural body training again? That's all a scam. How can you keep up without drugs? Look how many places you've dropped. If this continues, you'll be kicked out of the demonstration class in the next monthly exam." He said with a look of disappointment, "Am I making you take drugs and train your body for my sake? I won't gain any muscle from you taking drugs." As he spoke, he pointed to a student in the distance. "Look at Qi and Shen. 12 injections of dragon elephant preparation a day to increase muscles and bones, 2 injections of painkillers to suppress the pain of muscle tearing and growth, 2 injections of glutinous liquor to speed up metabolism and absorption of immortal elements in food, and eating 15 pounds a day to gain weight." In just 3 months, his physical strength has skyrocketed from 0.13 to the current 1.15. Becoming the strongest physique in the first year, surpassing your 20 years of natural body training. Accompanying Wang Hai's narration, Xiong Yu remembered how Xi and Shen had transformed from a skinny dog, less than 1.70 meters tall, 3 months ago, into a small giant who is now over 2 meters tall and weighs over 300 pounds. Wang Hai then pointed to another student. "Look at Zhao Tianxing, who used to be inferior to you. His physical strength also broke through level 1.00 the day before yesterday. Now his blood is like lead and mercury, his arteries are sclerotic, and his heart has tripled in size." After casually pointing at a circle of students, Wang Hai sighed. "Xiong Yu, I saw that your physical strength used to be in the top 10, your talent is not bad, and your drug resistance is excellent, so I'm telling you so much." Looking at Wang Hai's earnest appearance, Xiong Yu also felt the other party's concern. But whether it was a lack of money or fear of death, he was unwilling to take medicine now. Just as he was thinking about how to explain to the other party, he saw Wang Hai take out a box of medicine from the bag beside him. The so-called 3 points of training, 7 points of eating, and the remaining 90 points depend on how you inject the medicine. This is the latest divine elephant power function enhancer launched by the Vajra sect. The quality of the major sects is guaranteed, and 1 injection is worth 10 injections. To be honest, this thing was originally still in the laboratory. I got it from a good brother. Seeing that you have good talent, I'm selling it to you at an 80% discount. 10 bottles will cost you 8,800. Looking at Wang Hai selling drugs to him, Xiong Yu now completely remembered that more than half of the various physical enhancement supplements that the students in the class were eating and injecting were bought from Wang Hai. Such a situation is normal in Songyang High School. After all, medicine and body are inseparable. Every physical education teacher is not only an excellent body training expert, but also an excellent drug salesperson, and often has multiple pharmaceutical channels behind them. But Xiong Yu at this moment could neither afford these things, nor could his body bear the drugs, so he could only think about getting through it perfunctorily. Looking at Xiong Yu, who was making excuses and constantly finding reasons to refuse, Wang Hai snorted coldly, put the medicine back, and said with a look of disappointment, "Then you can only fend for yourself." Watching the PE teacher turn around and leave, starting to guide and sell to other students, Xiong Yu sighed helplessly, and thought to himself, "Is it so difficult to attend PE class in this broken place?" Just then, a young man walked over and asked, approaching Zhang Yu's side. Wang Hai tried to sell you something again? The student who spoke looked delicate and handsome, with the appearance of a boy next door. Memories related to the other party also surfaced in Zhang Yu's mind. He is Zhu Tianyi. Zhu Tianyi was Zhang Yu's meal and study buddy since the first day of school. The two of them had eaten together for 3 months, studied together for 3 months, and established a fragile friendship in the process. However, as the memories flooded back, the first thing that Zhang Yu thought of was the other person's grade ranking. Ranked 25th in the grade, qualified to eat at the same table as me. Why do I also have this kind of academic discrimination? Zhang Yu felt that as his memories continued to merge, he seemed to be constantly influenced, and he became more and more concerned about the academic rankings in this school. At this moment, hearing Zhu Tianyi's inquiry, he nodded and said, "Yeah, wants to sell divine elephant strength to me. You didn't buy it again?" Seeing Zhang Yu nod, Zhu Tianyi hissed and said, "Aren't you afraid that old Wang will mess with you, kid?" "Mess with me?" Zhang Yu said, "It's just not buying medicine, it shouldn't be that bad." Zhu Tianyi shook his head repeatedly and said, "Alas, do you want to hear some gossip about Wang Hai?" "Forget it, I'm not a gossip person." Zhang Yu turned and walked towards the practice equipment on the side, intending to familiarize himself with his body and the content of the physical education course. Zhu Tianyi continued, "Some teachers complained that Wang Hai was masturbating in the office next door, and the vibration from his ejaculation cracked the roof." Zhang Yu's footsteps stopped. He wasn't a gossip person, but this gossip was so bad. He had to see what was going on. The newest novels are first published at 69shu.com. Zhu Tianyi said. Wang Hai later explained that he didn't do it, and the banging sound was him teaching disobedient students a lesson. Later, I asked the students from the previous 2 grades, and it turned out that Wang Hai had a habit of physically punishing poor students. Especially if their grades declined, and they didn't buy his medicine, he would lead the bullying. I heard that a few years ago, a student was driven to have mental problems by him. Hearing this, Zhang Yu's eyes suddenly narrowed. Wang Hai is okay doing this. Zhu Tianyi didn't think much of it and said, "Wang Hai's teaching performance has always been very good. He is the 8th physical education teacher of Songyang High School. He has taught 3 students who were the top in the city in terms of physical strength in the college entrance examination. Some people say that he has access to some of the major sex medicines that are still in the laboratory. Even if the school really doesn't want to use him, most students and parents won't agree. They are all counting on Wang Hai to buy medicine and help them improve their physical strength." Saying that, he looked at Zhang Yu and warned, "If you keep not buying medicine and your grades don't improve, I'm afraid you will be messed with by him." Looking at Zhang Yu's frowning brow, Zhu Tianyi asked curiously, "I said, you used to get a lot of injections, kid. Why did you suddenly stop buying them? Could it be that you're out of money? Do you want me to lend you some?" Feeling the sincerity in the other person's eyes, Zhang Yu smiled helplessly. "No need. Really no need. Zhu Tianyi, or can you inject mine today first?" Zhang Yu naturally shook his head repeatedly. He was really afraid that if he got a few more injections, he would just die. According to the memories in his mind, there was no shortage of people in this world who were severely injured, disabled, or even died due to excessive drug loads. Even Songyang High School has people who are seriously injured every year because of excessive drug use. But even so, students who pursue physical strength and use drugs are still endless. And the original owner had already shown signs of being overwhelmed since last week. Thinking that the original owner not only owed 700,000 in debt, but also left him with such a body, Zhang Yu sighed again in his heart. Just as the two were whispering, a cold gaze suddenly swept over, and Wang Hai shouted, "Don't talk in private during physical education class." Zhang Yu and Zhu Tianyi immediately stopped communicating and started exercising. Zhang Yu came to a large iron ball, his muscles shook, and after exerting force, he lifted the 100-kilogram iron ball. Then, accompanied by the contraction and expansion of his muscles, the iron ball was moved to various positions around his body, like a toy. As the iron ball flew up and down and rotated, Zhang Yu also felt the blood in his body surge, and various parts of his body gradually warmed up. This is a warm-up. The whole process seemed to be instinctively engraved in his flesh and blood. Zhang Yu completed the warm-up training almost without thinking. And in the following training, his mastery of this body became more and more in depth. and relevant memories continued to emerge from his mind. Body training in the key refining stage mainly involves tempering muscles and bones. Through repeated practice, the upper limit is broken, and ultimately the physical strength level is improved. The specific method. For example, the most widely circulated method among high school students is the exercise called the 36 Styles of Bodybuilding. The 36 Styles of Bodybuilding is a body training exercise created by the 10 great sects specifically for high school teaching. The 36 movements, combined with different equipment, can fully develop the body and effectively improve physical strength. Under the Immortal Tao framework summarized by the 10 great sects, all martial arts and Taoist techniques are divided into levels 1 to 100. Most students at Xiong High School can successfully get started after studying for 1 or 2 weeks and practice basic martial arts such as the 36 styles of body building to level 1. And if the level can continue to be improved, the training effect of the 36 styles of body building will become stronger and stronger and more incredible. But this is obviously not easy. In Zhang Yu's memory, only Bai Zhenjin had raised the 36 styles of body building to level 2 in the 3 months since the start of school. It is precisely because of this that Bai Zhenjin can maintain her physical strength score at second place in the grade with 9 injections a day, closely chasing Qian Shen, who gets 16 injections a day. The level of the 36 styles of body building is related to the efficiency of physical strength improvement, but the key to truly determining the size of the power and the physical education score is still the physical strength itself. Speaking of which, my physical strength is level 0, 82, so I can easily swing hundreds of pounds of things around. And the physical strength of the key refining realm can reach level 10 at most, and after foundation establishment, it can reach level 20 at most. The gap between people is too big. Zhang Yu initially just wanted to practice casually, familiarizing himself with the content of the physical education class and his body. But as he practiced the 36 styles of bodybuilding one set after another, he became more and more serious, more and more careful, as if there was an instinct in his body urging him, encouraging him, and letting him persevere in his exercise. Muscles were constantly torn, bones were constantly impacted. After repeated practice, his body, after repeated devastation, finally gushed out a warm current and began to silently repair the damage in his flesh and blood. This is the mana in Zhang Yu's body, and just like the physical education classes of the past few months, the body is devastated under heavy pressure and then constantly repaired under the action of mana, and becomes stronger. Huff. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. Zhang Yu deeply exhaled a breath, only feeling that his whole body was sore at this moment, and his flesh and blood seemed to be disintegrating. No wonder you have to take painkillers. He looked up at Bai Zhenjin, who was still sweating like rain in the distance, and the other classmates who were also practicing like crazy on the other side, and a sense of urgency instinctively surged from his heart, as if urging him to continue squeezing his body. If I had trained so crazily in the original world, I would have probably died from training, right? It's just that there are various immortal Tao technology-based drug supports here, and there is mana. That's why I can hold on, and become stronger and stronger. Feeling the pain coming from all parts of his body at this moment, and the instinct that was still longing for exercise and longing to become stronger, Zhang Yu couldn't help but sigh at the depth of the original Zhang Yu's obsession. However, as the exercise continued, this instinct hidden deep in the human body seemed to be getting weaker and weaker. The future path will ultimately depend on the current Zhang Yu to choose for himself. When the morning physical education class was completely over, Zhang Yu was already lying exhausted on the field, surrounded by a group of classmates who were still alive and kicking and still practicing like crazy. Zhang Yu sighed that this was the difference between using and not using drugs. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of the black patch on his palm, and found that less than a quarter of the area that had not been filled with black was left. Looking at the changes in the palm of his hand, Zhang Yu couldn't help but think, what does this mean? Will I be done for once it's completely filled? Unfortunately, no one could answer the unease in Zhang Yu's heart at this moment. After finishing the morning's physical education class, Zhang Yu dragged his half-dead body and had lunch with Bai Zhenjin and Zhi. Then after a short rest, he welcomed the afternoon's classes. The first class in the afternoon was history, and the teacher was an old man with a full head of white hair. After entering the classroom, the old man sat down behind the podium on his own, opened his book, and casually began to lecture. As for the students below, whether they were seizing the time to rest, breathe, cultivate, or even leave the classroom to train their bodies, he didn't seem to care. Xiong wasn't interested in listening to what the history teacher was saying. He just quickly flipped through the textbook, constantly recalling the contents in his mind and understanding them in conjunction with his own memories. Kongshu doesn't have countries. Everything is monopolized and controlled by the 10 great sects. Kongshu has 36 layers above ground. The first layer is about twice the size of China, made up of various cities of different sizes, each managed by a city government built by the great sects. Apart from immortal cultivation, the level of technology in the first layer seems to be about the same as in my previous life, but the lives of ordinary people seem to be much harder. The first layer of Kongshu is also where Xiong has always lived. As for going higher, he has only seen that in TV, shows, and movies. According to what Xiong knew from his memories, only by getting into university could one enter the second layer of Kongshu, and only after graduating from university and joining a great sect could one ascend to even higher layers. It can be said that in this Kongshu, only by mastering stronger immortal power and higher authority can one climb upwards, step by step. And the higher the layer, the more abundant the spiritual energy, the more developed the immortal technology, and the more abundant the various resources, according to legend. Thinking back to this, Xiong couldn't help but turn his head to look out the window, feeling the sunlight pouring down from the sky. Such a real sky and sunlight as this, really inside some super giant building. The first layer is already twice the size of China, so how much space does the entire Kongshu occupy? It must not be on Earth anymore, right? And how did I come to this world? Unconsciously, his mind recalled the scene when he first arrived in this world, the strange ritual, and then his head felt another wave of dizziness. Xiong quickly shook his head. For him at the moment, compared to these big issues, high school grades, living expenses, making money, physical education class, these immediate things needed his attention more. And thinking of grades and cultivation, Xiong felt another headache. In addition to the morning's physical education class, the immortal cultivation grades also included for subjects Tao Heart, Mana, martial arts, and Tao techniques. Among them, Tao Heart accounted for 150 points, Mana accounted for 150 points, martial arts 100 points, and Tao techniques 100 points. And according to Xiong memory, his recent ranking had been declining across the board, with no subject not regressing. At this rate, it seemed that being expelled from Songyang High School was only a matter of time. And another question popped up in Xiong Yu's mind. From what I can see now, Xiong Yu's family is neither rich, nor does he have any outstanding immortal talent himself. Whether it was the first year or the second year, his interviews didn't seem very successful, so how did he get into Songyang High School? Xiong Yu repeatedly recalled, only remembering that the original owner had entered Songyang High School with less than ideal interview results. And thinking of the original owner's family, his eyes moved slightly, and he took out his phone and opened his contacts. Right, should I contact Xiong Yu's parents and sister after school? During the afternoon's classes, Xiong Yu spent his time reviewing and sorting out the memories in his mind, which deepened his understanding of the knowledge in his mind, of this world, and of Xiong Yu's identity. In the blink of an eye, it was 6 o'clock, the end of school. Today's classes at the school were all over, but for most of the students at Songyang High School, the day's classes were only half over. Next, they would need to attend their respective tutoring sessions and then study on their own until late at night, before they could rest. But unlike the students who were rushing to their respective tutoring classes, Xiong Yu was sitting in the empty cafeteria at the moment. Having run out of savings and credit, he hadn't attended tutoring classes for 2 weeks. So after finishing dinner, he thought for a while and opened his phone. Let's give it a try. He first called Xiong Yu's mother, then his father, but both were unanswered. Recalling the relevant memories of Xiong Yu's parents and sister in his mind, he finally had no choice but to call his sister. Xiong Yu. Listening to the slightly cold voice on the other end of the phone, Xiong Yu bit the bullet and said, "Sister, can you lend me some money?" In a moment of silence, just as Xiong Yu thought the other party would hang up, a voice came from the phone. "When you were in the first grade of elementary school, I told Mom and Dad that you don't have immortal talent, and going down this path is a complete waste of time and money. After we separated, Mom believed in your delusions and stubbornly wanted to support you in high school alone, and she even came to us not long ago to borrow money, wanting to use my tutoring fees. And you, this overestimating fool, even want to take out loans to cultivate immortality. In order to study in high school, you're already up to your neck in debt, right? Faced with the other party's accusations, Xiong was speechless, because according to the memories he had sorted out in his mind, what the other party said was correct. After his parents separated with their respective children, knowing that his mother's income was insufficient, and the family had no money, the original Xiong was too overconfident, and in the end, he stubbornly took out small loans to cultivate immortality, living on loans, all the way to the present. And his mother also left him after Xiong repeatedly borrowed money, helping him repay it again and again, and discovering that the hole was getting bigger and bigger. The voice on the other end of the phone continued to come. This is our last contact. You can pay off the debts you owe yourself. I'll give you one more piece of advice: drop out of school, and go work to pay off your debts. For the sake of being a family, I'll send you 500 later. This money is enough for you to find a job before you starve to death. Listening to the sound of the other party hanging up the phone, Xiong sighed helplessly. Fortunately, I got at least 500. Including the 500 from Bai Zhenjin, Xiong current savings finally exceeded 1,000. But walking on the way home, Xiong mind was still constantly filled with the other party's advice. Drop out of school, and go to work. Lying back on the bed in the rented house, Xiong stared blankly at the somewhat moldy ceiling. Declining grades, penniless, burdened with huge debts, a body that can't bear the burden. He had to admit that dropping out of school, early, to work seemed like a rational decision. Just then, a burst of pain came from the palm of his hand. The symbol that only he could see was finally filled with black at this moment. At the same time, a clear female voice rang out from the side. Boy, the summoning ritual is complete. It's time to grant 3 wishes. Xiong turned his head sharply, and found a rag doll sitting on his bedside. Looking at the rag doll with its yellowing and faded fabric, crooked stitching, and seeming to be about to tear apart at any moment, he suddenly realized that this wasn't the rag doll he saw in the weird ritual on the rooftop after he came to this world yesterday. Rag doll, hey, did you hear what I said? 3 wishes, not 1 less. Faced with the bizarre scene in front of him, Xiong just wanted to leave. He wasn't the newbie who knew nothing about this world anymore. After sorting out the memories in his mind, he knew that gods in this world were not some ethereal belief, but managers who held countless affairs, large and small, within the entire Kongshu. But these righteous gods were definitely not someone that an immortal cultivation waste, like Xiong could summon casually. The god that Xiong's so-called summoning ritual could summon must be an evil god rumored to cause chaos, disregard human life, and be severely cracked down on by the 10 great sects and the righteous gods of various departments. The little stories of those mortals who made deals with evil gods and ultimately died, their souls scattered, were what the common people of Khonshu's first layer had grown up listening to. Xiong, this guy, was at the end of his rope and finally turned to the evil gods. No wonder I feel dizzy whenever I think of related memories. Is this also the evil god's trick? Xiong felt the danger at the first moment, and wanted to leave, but after another thought, he stopped his constantly trembling body. The reason why the original Xiong sought out the evil god was only because he was truly at the end of his rope. Was he to be a beast of burden at the bottom forever to pay off debts, or was he to risk his life for a chance to continue cultivating immortality? Evil god. My first wish is for you to help me fulfill 100 wishes. After saying this, Xiong swallowed and nervously looked at the other party and asked, can you do it? Of course I can do such a simple thing. Looking at the smile on Xiong face, the rag doll let out a sneer. But my choice is not to do it. Because after the summoning ritual is complete, you have to fulfill my 3 wishes. If you choose to refuse to fulfill my wishes, or deliberately delay, or even fail in the process of fulfilling them, then you will be torn apart and your soul will be scattered under the backlash of the ritual. Alright, my first wish is that you have to help me fulfill 1,000 more wishes. Hearing these words, Xiong was slightly stunned and cursed in his heart. Isn't this summoning ritual just to fulfill your wishes? Is this Xiong an idiot? Still 1,000 wishes? This works too. And after the ragdoll finished speaking its first wish, it smiled slightly, and the hollow eyes composed of black buttons continued to stare straight at Xiong. Are you ready? I'm going to say my next wish. Xiong's heart suddenly tightened when he heard this. What wish is this ghost thing going to make? If I really have to complete 1,000 wishes for her, wouldn't I become her slave? Or make a wish that I can't complete at all, wouldn't I be doomed to die? The ragdoll slowly said, I've thought about it. My next wish is for you to help me collect a batch of antiques. Xiong Yu swallowed. Antiques. The ragdoll chuckled and said, Don't worry, I've already found them for you. Just buy everything in your shopping cart. Xiong Yu was slightly stagnant when he heard this, then took out his phone, opened his shopping cart according to his memory, and found that it was already filled with various Buddha statues, offering tables, incense burners, wooden swords, the prices of which were not cheap, with each one costing tens of thousands. And if he couldn't afford these antiques, it seemed that he couldn't fulfill the wish. If he couldn't fulfill the evil god's wish, wouldn't he die under the effect of the ritual? Thinking of this, Xiang Yu quickly asked, Can you change the wish? I probably can't afford so many antiques. Making excuses, the ragdoll's gaze condensed, and endless malice seemed to surge from its dark eyes. You want to go back on your word. If you can't afford it, go borrow it. If you can't borrow it, sell your heart, liver, kidney, spleen, and lungs. There's always a way for you to raise money. Xiong Yu looked at the ragdoll seriously, and slowly said, If I do that, then I will die in order to fulfill this one wish, right? The doll laughed softly. So what? Xiong Yu, you are choosing to immediately lose someone who will help you fulfill 1,000 wishes in the future. Or give me some time, and let a future disciple of a great sect help you buy these antiques and then, one by one, help you fulfill those 1,000 wishes? The ragdoll glanced at Xiong Yu in surprise. Continue. Xiong Yu, I calculated that even if I work in Khonshu's first layer for decades, I probably wouldn't be able to raise that much money. But if I can join a great sect, then I can save enough money in a few years. Ragdoll. So. Xiong Yu, that is to say, as long as I study hard, cultivate diligently, and constantly become stronger, get into a famous university, and then join a great sect after graduation, I can use the sect's salary to fulfill your wish. After the ragdoll was silent for a moment, it suddenly said, Are you saying that you want to study hard, then go to work and earn a salary, so as to fulfill my wish? Are you playing me? Endless malice rushed towards him. The ragdoll's eyes were like two huge black holes, wanting to instantly suck in all the surrounding light. Xiong Yu clenched his fists, trying his best to suppress his constantly trembling legs, and stared at the ragdoll, word by word. Your first wish is for me to fulfill 1,000 wishes for you. The second wish is to collect the antiques in the shopping cart. If I die of poverty while collecting antiques for you, how can I fulfill 1,000 wishes? If I know this, but still complete the second wish in a way that is bound to die, wouldn't I be deliberately not completing the first wish? Deliberately making myself unable to complete the first wish would violate the requirements of the ritual, and I'm afraid that I would be backlashed by the ritual and die before even completing the second wish, right? So studying hard, getting into university, and working hard to earn money are the only feasible plans I can think of at the moment to fulfill the first and second wishes. As Xiong Yu finished speaking, there was a deathly silence in the room. After a moment, the ragdoll's voice rang out. Let me see your balance. Listening to Audio Nova. After seeing the balance on Xiong Yu's account and various overdue loan messages, the ragdoll was silent for a long time. This kid. The ragdoll's mind raced. Normally, this kind of situation shouldn't happen. After all, the ritual's target should be wealthy people, and buying that pile of antiques is just a matter of lifting a finger. But this kid is too poor, so poor that he can't even fulfill the first wish, to the point that he's exploited a loophole. Damn it, didn't I say to find a rich person? How did you find such a pauper for me? After a long silence, the ragdoll looked at Xiong Yu and said, What you said isn't entirely unreasonable. All right, go study hard. I'll come back to you when you've earned enough money. As it spoke, the doll sneered again. But you must remember, all of this is to fulfill my wish. From now on, if you slack off even slightly in the process of fulfilling my wish, you will die under the backlash of the ritual. Watching the ragdoll gradually disappear, Xiong Yu exhaled sharply, his body softening as he collapsed onto the bed. Suddenly, he remembered something and shouted, Wait, this ritual. What exactly did I get from this ritual? Although he suspected that his transmigration might be related to this ritual, he didn't dare to directly reveal this secret, and instead chose a roundabout way of probing. Unless absolutely necessary, he decided to keep the secret of Earth buried deep in his heart, never to reveal it. The ragdoll completely disappeared without a trace, leaving only a voice in Xiong Yu's ear. Your potential has been stimulated, but everyone's potential is different. What exactly is it? Go and feel it for yourself. Outside the room, the ragdoll walked and thought, this kid's aptitude is terrible. The potential stimulation is nothing more than enhancing his magic power, or physical strength, right? I doubt he can even get into a university, let alone join a major sect. How can he fulfill my wish? But his on-the-spot adaptability is quite interesting. Let me see how far you can struggle. Inside the room, Xiong Yu watched the black symbol in the palm of his hand gradually begin to change. As the black symbol in his palm shifted, a thick, ink-black book appeared in Xiong Yu's hand. Feather book. Looking at the two large characters on the cover, Xiong Yu was slightly taken aback. Then, as his mind flickered, the black book in his hand opened on its own, naturally flipping to the first page. This is the table of contents, right? Looking at the table of contents, besides the prologue on the first line, the rest were all lines of blurry, unreadable text, as if they had been censored. Xiong Yu thought, does this mean there's only the prologue for now? With a thought, he turned to the prologue, and what appeared before him were a portrait of a person, on the left page, and lines of data, and information, on the right page. Is this a drawing of me? The portrait on the left page depicted Xiong Yu sitting cross-legged with his eyes lightly closed, as if in meditation. His expression was lifelike, giving the feeling that the figure in the painting was still breathing. Especially with the faint radiance flowing within, Xiong Yu felt that it should represent the flow of mana within his body. The right page contained lines of data and information, namely, Xiong Yu. Tao Heart Level 1. Mana 7.7. Physical Strength Level 0, 83. Martial Arts 36 Forms of Body Strengthening Level 1, Freehand Combat Level 1. Taoist Arts Basic Breathing Technique Level 1, Basic Mind Refining Technique Level 1. This is me. The above is the data for various immortal Tao qualities. The Tao Heart level here is the same as the school's test, unable to be precise to decimal places. Below are the martial arts and Taoist arts I've learned so far. Among the 4 skills below, besides the 36 forms of body strengthening used to improve physical strength, there was also the freehand combat learned in martial arts class for practical combat ability, the basic breathing technique from mana class to refine mana, and the basic mind refining technique used to improve Tao Heart, all of which were just beginner level 1. Xiong Yu looked at the numbers and thought to himself, is this the potential awakened by the evil god? This book can detect my various attributes. But it should be more than that, right? According to that evil god, he awakened my potential, but what's the point of just detecting it? I can get tested at school every day. There should be other wonderful uses. Thinking of this, Xiong Yu decided to test it. He focused his attention on the attribute numbers and shouted in his mind, Feather book. Add points for me. Looking at the data on the book, that didn't move at all, Xiong Yu sighed that this evil god was just not helpful, and didn't awaken his potential at all. Trying to turn to the next page, he found that it actually said to be continued. Thinking of the content on the table of contents that hadn't been displayed yet, Xiong Yu guessed, what does this mean? Could this ability be upgraded? Only after upgrading will the later functions be available? He could only turn back to the front again, constantly focusing his attention on his lines of data and skills to see if he could trigger any effects. Just as he focused his attention on 36 forms of body strengthening level 1, he suddenly felt that the line of words jumped slightly and was directly dragged, wandering back and forth on the page with his thoughts. Just as Xiong Yu was dragging 36 forms of body strengthening level 1 around the page, wondering what the use of this was. When 36 forms of body strengthening level 1 touched the portrait, it suddenly solidified, and was directly absorbed by Xiong Yu in the portrait. With this absorption, Xiong Yu only felt as if a clear spring had been poured down from the top of his head, and some indescribable feeling surged in his heart, making him feel that he had a strange connection with Xiong Yu in the portrait. At the same time, the portrait, which was originally sitting cross-legged, suddenly stood up and began to practice the 36 forms of body strengthening, move by move. Above the portrait, a line of small words had already appeared 36 forms of body strengthening, level 1. Looking at the small at the end, Xiong Yu suddenly became excited, it's here. My potential has really been awakened. His attention quickly focused on the feeling as if he had pressed it with his thoughts. The next moment, he saw the blur slightly, and then it became. Then a surge of understanding rose from Xiong Yu's heart. Practice the 36 forms of body strengthening 10 times to complete the martial arts upgrade. Looking at 36 forms of body strengthening level 1 on the feather book, Xiong Yu was surprised. Just practicing it 10 times can upgrade this martial art? You must know that since the beginning of school, Xiong Yu had practiced these 36 forms of body strengthening many times, and there had never been any feeling of wanting to upgrade. 10 times. Xiong Yu couldn't wait to try it. He took a step forward, and with a bang, his flesh and blood twisted like a giant python, bursting out layers of power. Although Xiong Yu would use equipment to practice the 36 forms of body strengthening at school, it was only to increase the effect of the exercise. In fact, as the most basic body refining martial art, the 36 forms of body strengthening can be practiced with or without equipment, and even practitioners can focus on different directions such as strength, speed, and dexterity according to their own inclinations. For example, the original Xiong Yu chose a direction of balanced development of strength and speed, and did not become a big muscle head. At this moment, Xiong Yu was seen moving back and forth in the small room, his feet exploding with a bang on the floor, and his flesh and blood gradually warming up, after, constantly, expanding, and contracting. But before he could practice a few moves, a burst of scolding came from around him. Are you sick? Tearing down the house in the middle of the night? Xiong Yu stopped immediately, and said helplessly in his heart, the sound insulation of the rental house is too bad, I can't practice martial arts at night. Looking at the feather book that appeared in his palm, Xiong Yu couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement in his heart, wanting to immediately practice like crazy, and practice the 36 forms of body strengthening 10 times, in one breath, to see the effect. Should I change places? I remember there's an unfinished building nearby. In a darkness. The sound of banging echoed continuously in the stairwell of the unfinished building. The latest novels are first published at 6-9 Books Bar. Along with the flashing neon lights on the distant street, a young man's figure occasionally appeared in the shadows. It was Xiong Yu, who had rushed to the unfinished building to practice the 36 forms of body strengthening. At this moment, he was seen with a solemn expression, practicing the training method of the 36 forms of body strengthening, move by move, and after a while, he was covered in sweat, looking hot and steaming. Xiong Yu had already exercised for a morning during the day, and finally collapsed on the ground. Without the assistance of injections, pills, or dietary supplements, he felt sore all over as soon as he practiced the 36 forms of body strengthening, and every movement and every exertion brought pain, like tearing muscles. However, thinking about the changes on the feather book, his spirit was refreshed, and he finally insisted on completing the 36 forms of body strengthening once. Panting, Xiong Yu couldn't wait to open his palm, and the feather book appeared again with his thoughts. Looking at 36 forms of body strengthening level 1 above, Xiong Yu couldn't help but reveal a trace of joy on his face. Is this my potential? Raising the 36 forms of body strengthening to level 2, it seems really possible. I'm going to practice it 10 times tonight. Xiong Yu couldn't wait to start the second round of the 36 forms of body strengthening. But after a while, he was so tired that he sat down on the ground, feeling as if his hands and feet were no longer his own. I can't do it anymore. I've reached my limit. It looks like I can only try again tomorrow. Just as Xiong Yu decided to stop exercising and rest for a while before going home to get a good night's sleep, a chill suddenly surged from his heart. At the same time, a voice also sounded in his mind. Please abide by the ritual agreement. Work hard to fulfill your wish. Do not deliberately slack off or delay. 10. Please abide by the ritual agreement. Work hard to fulfill your wish. Do not deliberately slack off or delay. 9. Please abide by the ritual agreement. Work hard to fulfill your wish. Do not deliberately slack off or delay. 8. As the voice's countdown continued, the chill in Xiong Yu's heart became more and more intense, as if something was about to surge out of his body, tearing apart his flesh and blood. Ritual agreement wish. He also reacted immediately. Could this be the power of the god summoning ritual? Xiong Yu's mind immediately flooded with what the cloth doll had said. If you choose to refuse to fulfill my wish for me, or deliberately delay, or even fail in the process of fulfilling it, then you will be torn apart and your soul will be scattered under the backlash of the ritual. Xiong Yu thought, so it's because I plan to study hard, get into a famous university, join a large sect, and make money to fulfill my second wish. So any slackening in this process is considered deliberate laziness and delay in fulfilling the wish. If I don't listen, will I die under the backlash of the ritual? Listening to the countdown that had unknowingly counted down to 3, Xiong Yu jumped up quickly. With a scream, He endured the pain of tearing muscles and began to practice the 36 forms of body strengthening. Just as he began to practice, the countdown just now completely disappeared. That's it for today's chapter. Don't forget to like and follow so you won't miss the next update. Thank you all for listening.